So, good morning everyone. I am Kapil. I am a senior software engineer at Microsoft. Today we will be talking about what's new with public folders in Exchange Online. So, this is the agenda. We will be talking about what's new in public folders, and then we will be talking about the roadmap. So, let us see what features we have implemented. So, these are the three features which we worked on: migration of modern public folders to Exchange Online, scale and other improvements which we have done, and public folder migration to groups. So, let us get into a bit more detail on the features which we have implemented. So, now we support migration of your modern public folders to Exchange Online. This feature is supported for Exchange versions 2013 and 16. So, using our toolset you can migrate your public folders to Exchange Online. So, this is available worldwide. Anyone can use this tool. We released this in March 2017. What this tool does is it copies all your content from your IPM subtree to Exchange Online. Apart from that, it also copies all your soft deleted content from your non-IPM subtree to Exchange Online. The steps to migrate are quite similar to 2010 to Exchange Online migration. So, there is a very minimal learning curve here. Till now, we have seen over 180 migrations that have happened, and few of them have migrated over a TB data using our tool. So, let us see what other improvements we have done in public folders. So, we talked about partial hierarchy in our last Ignite. This is available worldwide now. What partial hierarchy does is it stores only the copy of the folders which are needed in a content serving mailbox, and if it is not serving hierarchy, only a part of the hierarchy is stored. So, advantages which you get is the size of the mailbox reduces and the mailboxes are up post migration faster, so that users can access them faster. Moving on, we worked on AAD connect changes. So, now you can sync mail enabled public folders from on-prem to Exchange Online using the latest version of AAD Connect. So, from version 5.2.4 onwards, this is available as an optional feature, and once you enable this feature, all your mail enabled public folders from on-prem gets synced to Exchange Online. So, the advantages you get is you can utilize all the features which AAD provides, and specifically if you have disabled DBEB because of public folders, now you can enable them. So, with this change, DBEB feature can be enabled in your organization. Now, we support 250K folders in Exchange Online, which is 2.5 times the existing limit. So, if you are on-prem with 250K folders, you can migrate to Exchange Online, or if you are already on Exchange Online, you can grow till 250K. So, moving on to the last feature, we worked on auto split. So, auto split is the feature which ensures that your mailboxes in Exchange Online are well within the quota. So, once a mailbox reaches a certain threshold, the folders are moved out to a different mailbox. So, we implemented the drain feature. A drain feature, what it does is it quickly takes the folders out and ensures that the mailboxes are empty. And we also implemented, we also reduced the threshold to 20% for primary mailboxes and 70% for secondary mailboxes. So, with these changes, the amount of time user will not be able to access public folders because it when hit quota will reduce. So, now if your mailbox have hit quota, users cannot access them, With this changes, public folders will be soon accessible to the users, because the mailboxes will get freed up and users can start putting in more content. So moving on to the next feature, which is public folder to Office 365 groups. Now you can select certain public folders and migrate them to groups. So we support migration from 2010, Exchange 2010, Exchange 2013, 2016 and Exchange Online to Exchange Online groups. So this is available worldwide. We released this in just a couple of days back, so anyone can use this tool. What this tool does is it copies all your content from public folder to the group, plus we migrate your users from your public folder to the group. So if you have given permissions in your public folder, we are given you a script which will automatically copy all your permissions from public folder to corresponding permissions in the group. So currently we recommend you to look at your public folders and find the folders which are being used primarily for email and calendar collaboration. So if you find such folders, they are most optimal for migrating to group. Apart from that, currently we only support migration of mail type and calendar type in this migration. Other folder types like contacts, tasks are currently not supported. So we talked about public folder to group migration. Let's see what are the migration steps involved. So the first step in the migration is to prepare for migration. So in this step, you will be downloading the scripts, you will be selecting the folders which you need to migrate. You will also be creating the groups which these folders will get migrated to, and you will create a CSV file which will have the information of the source folder which need to migrate to the destination group mailbox. So once you have this CSV created, you can move on to the next step. The next step is to create the batch and start migration. The CSV which we created in the previous step will be ingested in the create migration step. So once you have created the batch and started the migration, one incremental sync will happen from your source public folder to the mailbox, group mailbox, and once it finishes one incremental sync, your batch will move to completed state. So once your batch has moved to the completed state, you can move to the next step, which is the add members. So we are giving you a script which will help you migrate your users from public folders to the group. So what this script does is it looks at your permissions and then figures out which user needs to be given which permission in the group mailbox, and it assigns those permissions automatically. So let's move on to the next step. The last step in this migration is to lock and do a finalization. We have given you a script which will lock the public folders. By locking, we mean that only read access will be given to those particular public folders, other folders will still be accessible. So once you have locked the public folders, you need to do one final incremental sync to get all your incremental data from your public folder to the group. So to do that, you need to create the batch again and start the batch, and once the batch has done the incremental sync, it will go to completed state automatically. So once the batch has gone to completed state, it is when your migration completes. So now let us look at the demo. So what I am going to present is migration of a public folder from Exchange Online to a Exchange Online group. So in the interest of time, I have already created, I have already done the step 1, which is prepare for migration. So I have already created the group, I have already created my map.csv, and I have already downloaded my scripts. So let me quickly jump to my PowerShell. So as you guys can see that, right? Yeah, as you can see, I have already created a public folder tree. This is how my public folder tree looks like. In that, I am picking company sales as the folder which I want to migrate, and I have certain permissions assigned to this public folder. So I have Megan and Pradeep, who are author and owner for this public folder. So to migrate to the group, I have already created the group, which is the sales group, and I have already created my CSV file. So let me just open up my CSV file. So this is how my CSV file looks like. So I have the first column as folder path, and the second column is the target group mailbox SMTP address. So what this says is, what this tells the engine is to copy all the items from company sales folder to the sales group. So as you can see, this is my tenant, M365749135. I'll show you how it looks like in OVA. So currently I'm logged in as administrator, and my sales group is empty, and this is how my public folder looks like. So I have some conversations between Pradeep and Megan. Now I'll go ahead and create the batch. So what I have done is, I'm creating a batch, I have given it a name, and I'm giving the map.csv which we created, which is named as map_demo. I hope you guys can see that. So I'll start the batch. So once this batch starts, we can monitor the batch by running get migration batch and get migration user to see the status of the batch. So let me just do that. So this still says syncing, and the migration user says validating. So this will take a while to finish. So in the interest of time, I have already done a similar setup, and I have already done the migration. So let me quickly jump to that. So I have already migrated for this tenant. So as you can see, this is a different tenant, 104184. So here you can see that all the items from the folder company sales has migrated to the groups called sales. So let me quickly jump back to my slides. Yeah. So we have been running this tab program for group migration, public folder to group migration for some time, and we have got decent feedback from our customers. This is what our customers have to say. They found the documentation and the workflow to be simple and easy to follow. I'll not go through each one of them. Moving on. So till now we talked about what's new with public folders, and we covered the features which we implemented. Let's talk about what is the roadmap for public folders. So we talked about 250K public folder support. We are soon scaling it to 1 million public folders in Exchange Online. So we also talked about syncing of your mail enabled public folders from on-prem AD to AAD. We are working on syncing of your mail enabled public folders from Exchange Online to Exchange Online AD to AAD. So we are working on features to get you more insights on your public folders by giving you reporting tools. We are working on this as well. And lastly, we are working on policy for enabling and disabling public folder for certain users. So with this, admins can say disable the access to public folder tree completely for certain set of users. Excuse me. So moving on, so we talked about a lot of things today. Let me quickly summarize it for you. So we have given you the tools, and we have given you 250K folders support in Exchange Online. So bring your public folders to the cloud. So use Office 365 groups and attend the group sessions. I know all the sessions have gotten over, but that's what I did in my previous session. So this is a repeat session. And migrate your public folders to group. So this link aka.ms/pf to groups, I'll repeat that, aka.ms/pf to groups is the link which will give you the steps, which will give you what are the recommendations. It will also give you the current limitations and the scale limits which we have. So net it will give you, it's a one point place where you can find all your questions answered. So yeah, I think this is, there are no more booths. So if you have any questions, you can ask me. I'll just quickly go to 2 more slides. Yeah, I'm almost done. So fine, I think most of the sessions of groups have gotten over, so I'll skip this slide. So yeah, now I'll open up for Q&A. Yes. So the question was, can you migrate public folders from on-prem to group, Exchange Online group? Yes, that is correct. Once again, can I get a mic? Can you give it to him? Uh-huh. Nice. Thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
So I have a project I'm working on. I already migrated the users. I have about 15,000 public folders to migrate, and we're in the middle of that. Do you recommend that I migrate the public folders as is to Exchange Online and then migrate to groups, or migrate from on-prem to groups directly?
So we'll need to look at it, look at your public folders. So if all your public folders are mail and calendar public folders, and if your users are comfortable in using groups, then I would suggest you can directly go to Exchange Online groups instead of taking a hop. Yeah, we can discuss if you want.
Yeah, question here. A lot of our mail-enabled public folders have subfolders for different email workflows. Will groups ever have that capability to create subfolders within a group? Because that's the one thing we're missing for being able to do that. Otherwise, we have to use modern public folders or a shared mailbox.
So currently, groups is not supporting subfolders.
Yeah.
I am not 100% sure if we have a future roadmap, but as far as I know, I don't think we will be supporting in near future.
Okay.
I noticed in your demo for the migration to groups that it didn't, I guess maybe I don't know, and that's what I'm asking. Is there any way to get red status for those user permissions that you migrate over, so that when they see their public folder and they maybe read half of them, they're not going to see that they're red, or does that not come over at all?
So is your question that read unread count is migrated? Currently no. So, but yeah, if you see a lot of people asking for it, we'll definitely invest in that, migrating. And
then one more question, sorry. Hopefully this is quick. Since I haven't done this before, when you do migration batches to either from on-prem or to groups or to modern public folders, do you simultaneously do multiple batches to speed up the migration, or is that recommended?
So are you specifically asking about public folders to groups migration?
Yeah, that would be one.
I think you can do it, multiple groups, multiple batches, and migrate them. Only problem there I see is the load on your public folders will increase, so you need to time your batches in a way that users access is not affected.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, I guess mine's a two-part question. So we have an Exchange 2010 on-prem environment, a significant number of public folders. What I didn't see a way to go from Exchange 2010 to public folders online.
There is. So that is already supported. So you can search for legacy public folder migration to Exchange Online. You will definitely.
Okay, so it
find
would work from Exchange 2010 as
Yes,
well? Oh,
yes.
that's great.
Yes.
And then the second part is, what's your recommendation? Should I do all public folders to teams or to group? Or should I do some to...
So I would suggest you to start small, let your users get a feel of the groups. So because the experience is slightly different, I would suggest you to say, open up certain folders to become group. Let them play around with it. If they like it, I think you should then migrate everything. And then you should also look at the types of folders. Currently we support mail type and calendar type folders. So other folder types are currently not supported. So if you have them in your public folder tree, you may not be able to migrate them to groups, say notes or say task folders.
Okay, thank you.
I'll take this question.
I have a question regarding to the groups, because public folder before, based on our current implementation, is actually central management by IT. And the groups looks like it's a more self-support, you know.
Yes.
So if we're gonna use a batch and migrate to them, how to deal with those kind of a transition phase, and also follow that gentleman's question, because the public folder is kind of like a scalable structure. It's kind of like a subfolders, so on and so forth. To create groups, what user gonna see those kind of structure? Just see. In the groups, you have a private group and you have a public group.
Yes.
After migration, what actually default setting gonna be?
So the current recommendation is, if your public folder has permissions, say read access for everyone, then we recommend that you do a public group instead of a private group. But if it is the other way around, if only certain users have been given access, we would suggest you to create a private group, so that only certain users can access them. And about the first question, I think I'll ask Vijay to take over. So her question is, once we migrate to group, the folder structure is not there, right?
So we don't have a hierarchy in Office 365 groups. So it's basically for each of your folder you have to create a group. So each group will come its own site. So you can show the files there. So overall there is no hierarchy within groups. So you can just have to move it individually. Yeah.
One more question was administration of the group.
Yeah.
So she's asking, how can we administer the group in this?
So we have a better control for IT administrators on groups. So we have a lot of policies like naming policy, expiration policy to clean up groups, and you have retention policies. Everything is covered with groups, so you don't have to worry about administration. You have a better administration here as compared to public folders. So for example, the naming policy you have to configure before you do the migration, because when people start creating the groups, they will have the naming convention, right? Because naming policy is a forward only policy. It doesn't apply to existing groups. So you have to do it before it. Expiration policy you can do later. That is to manage the groups created later. Similarly, retention policy and like cases on security and compliance center, you can actually do it later, anytime you want. Yes. Always start small, try it out, just give a feel to the users, let them like it, get feedback, and then slowly migrate. Yeah.
So we'll take few more questions. I need to give it to the next speaker.
Yeah, I just have one.
I'll take his question. He has been waiting for quite some time.
Sir, I have a simple question.
Uh-huh.
For the past 2 years, Microsoft says get away from folder management.
Uh-huh.
Is that going away now? Now developer users are getting
So the next version of next version of Exchange, which is 2019, will definitely have public folders. But we recommend people to migrate out of public folder to say groups. So which is the modern way of doing the work, right? So if you have public folders which cannot be migrated, you can still use in 2019 as well, and in Exchange Online as well. So we'll fully support public folders We are not going to say kill public folders. Does that answer your question? No, I don't know. So I don't take that decision. So yeah, I'll take your question.
Yes, some of my public folders have permissions, some active users and some orphans users. I run into problem
with this
script.
migration?
Yes.
No.
No.
So we take care of dropping those permissions.
Okay.
So if there are any users who are no longer there in the gal, they'll get dropped, they won't be migrated, but you will get a warning message saying so and so user is not present, so they have been dropped.
Okay. And I have one next quick question.
Yeah.
If my public folders is used mostly for calendars, am I wrong to migrate it to a room mailbox, online room mailbox?
Sorry, which mailbox?
The room.
Group mailbox?
Room. Resource.
Oh, resource mailbox. Okay, I am not aware of that actually. Do you know?
No, I don't know. Some have similar issues. We actually follow the Microsoft suggestion. Actually migrate our public folder online on Exchange Online to use a shared mailbox solution. And now we are almost done. And now you give another solution. Say, okay, can migrate to the group. So we don't know what is the best practice now. Yeah.
Okay, I think it's mostly it mostly depends upon what your public folders are being used for. Assume you are using it to collaborate actively. Then groups is the solution, but if you are only using it to archive, say people just put their content, then groups is not the right solution for you guys. So any active communication that happens, it's better to use groups, is how will I put it.
What about the shared mailbox then? What's the position of that? What is actually main purpose of the shared mailbox now?
Yes, so I yeah. So I'll not be.
Okay, so as far as shared mailbox is concerned, I mean, ultimately, if you have a shared mailbox today and it works for you, you can keep using it. The problem is there is innovation coming to groups. Groups are accessible on mobile devices, you know. So I mean, ultimately, if something is shared mailboxes today, it's not going to stop working tomorrow. But this is just not the direction that we are actively telling people to go to.
The link that he referred earlier, aka.ms/bf2 groups, you can see a reference for a TechNet article where we have detailed on what are the scenarios where public folders is a lot more effective, what are the scenarios groups is effective. So as you mentioned, if you could explore some of your public folders with groups and see how it works for your users, and then from there you can move on, right?